Hello and welcome to a recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 15, Episode 8, The Calm Before the Storm. I would like to welcome new subscribers, Lucy Knuff and Lady Di. Welcome to Real Housewives Tea and Shade. All right. Very excited to get right into this because this is all when things start to go horribly wrong for our housewives of Orange County. In a way, it's hard to relive these moments where we all kind of found out what our lives were going to be for the rest of 2020. However, relive it we must. Okay, we start in Palm Springs. And this is the tail end of the trip for Bronwyn's anniversary celebration, renewal of her vows. Now, Kelly, Elizabeth, and Bronwyn decide to go to visit a historic home, to have a private tour of a historic home. And they're going to go to the Frey house. It's going to be a very short tour because the house is not very big. It's built into the rocks and it's mid-century modern, which is a style that I think is a little overrated. We have a lot of it in Miami too. Sometimes it can just be a little boxy. I'm not dying over this house. Of course, I love the location up on the rocks and, you know, the view and all that spectacular. But the house itself is not, it's not my bag, baby. Anyway, Kelly claims to be a history buff. Huh. Ask her who won the Civil War and see what answer you get. Or the Second World War for that. For that matter. Okay. Kelly has to, of course, see the house as a potential venue for having sex with Rick. Our sex is amazing. We could have sex, oh my God, we could have sex in this window and we could be full exhibitionists. Everybody in the valley below would see us. Okay. Folks, when people talk this much about how hot their sex life is, I always think it might not be. Just saying. He looks like an attractive guy, you know, ish. She's an attractive woman, but I don't know. The times in my life when things have been really hot and heavy, I haven't been walking around saying, let me tell you how hot my sex life is. It just, I don't know. I guess everyone's different. All right. Okay. And I'm just going to ask, just between you and me, does anyone else other than the view and the setting find this house kind of outright ugly? Like the interiors and stuff? Just let me know. Leave a comment. Oh, by the way, I never say this early on. Why don't you subscribe? That would be amazing. Push that subscribe button. Ring the bell and I'll notify you when I post new content. Always wait till the end. Always. All right. Hungover Shannon, although she's not doing as badly as you would think after her performance the night before, Emily and Gina decide they're going to go for a hike in the desert hills. All right, they talk about the fact that Elizabeth just confessed that she texted her ex, with whom she's supposedly going through this excruciating divorce. She texted him that the divorce was a mistake. Because remember, it was apparently her choice to get divorced. And she texted to him that she's sorry that the marriage is about to be over. Okay, so now we're getting a little more in focus because Elizabeth's stories change a lot. I got my eye on that one, on that girl, because her stories do change a lot. Now she says that, oh yeah, he did have money when they got married. Clearly he did have a lot of money when they got married. She makes it sound like she helped him build his fortune. Maybe he had a little fortune and she helped him to, you know, build a big fortune. But I don't think so. I think he was way up there when she met him. Okay. Yeah, the ladies basically feel like she's all over the place, as do I. They're confused by her stories. And her timeline. Her timeline is really weird. Now we find out that when Elizabeth started dating her ex, he was married. Okay. Back at the Frey house, Kelly tells Elizabeth that Emily and Gina think that she's keeping secrets about her marriage and divorce. She keeps going on and on about the gag order, but supposedly she's not, why is she talking about something that she's supposedly forbidden to talk about? Yeah, she keeps going on and on and on, and she's just acting so weird. Buying a Ferrari, driving it off the lot, having it depreciate, and then giving it to a charity. This doesn't make any sense. That's like throwing money away. You understand, you buy a $150,000 car or a $200,000 car, you drive it off the lot, it loses $40,000, and then you give it away to raise money for a charity. Let me tell you, any charity would much rather have you just write a check. Just write a check. Don't do that. It was weird. It was like some impulse. Yeah, she seems impulsive and compulsive a little bit. All right. And then again, yeah, I don't know, it just seems like money and materialism, definitely the focus of her life. Anyway, Elizabeth says, I don't care what Gina and Emily say. Bronwyn and Kelly tell Elizabeth, seriously though, this is not just for Gina and Emily, this is for all of us. Will you please stop talking about it all the time? We're tired of hearing about the divorce. We're tired of hearing about it. And these ladies do go on. So to actually say that to someone, wow. I mean, part of it is they can say it because she's the new girl. Okay, back to Emily, Gina, and Shannon. Gina says, appropriately I think, Bronwyn is just broken. She just seems broken. Wow. Gina says she can't turn her back on Bronwyn, even though Bronwyn has been nasty to her in the past, because Bronwyn opened up to her. She trusted her and she opened up to her. And she just has that soft spot. Gina's a softie. She's a softie. She plays a tough girl, a Staten Island girl. But no, she's, Gina is she's a typical Italian girl from Staten Island. She's tough on the outside. She's tough as nails. Nothing bothers her. She's not afraid of anybody. What do you want? What are you looking at? But she's got a heart of gold. Heart of gold. Okay, seems like Shannon and Elizabeth went out after the party. Oh, so that means Shannon drank more. Mas tequila. Mas tequila. Mas. That's what, it's like a little impulse inside her. Yep. Oh, these straps are just, excuse me. All right, and Elizabeth said Shannon just went off on Jimmy, that she was acting weird and aggressive with Jimmy. Jimmy left. He was not impressed, and he left. He seems like kind of a sensitive guy, and he's not as tough as these ladies, so I don't blame him. He left early. Shannon does that when she's drunk. She gets harsh. She's not a nice drunk. And she definitely goes, she can be funny, but she's not necessarily nice. Bronwyn thinks Shannon has a drinking problem. Let me lift my glass of Laurent Perrier to that. By the way, I'm drinking Laurent Perrier champagne because it's the second candle of Hanukkah. Chag Sameach. Shabbat Shalom. This is not kosher. It's not traditional. It's not a traditional Hanukkah beverage, but it is for me. Remember, I write my own rules. Okay. All right, so anyway, the reason why Bronwyn said Shannon has a drinking problem is because she is engaging in that favorite pastime of all newly recovered addicts, and that's calling everyone else an addict. when you come out of rehab, the favorite thing to do is look around you and say, oh, she's got a problem, he's got a problem, she's got a problem, you're an enabler, you're an angry drunk, you know, you're being triggered and you're drinking. I mean, oh God, you know, they're all so full of psychobabble and rehab speak, and they just want to, no soy Shannon, no, we'll not talk with hands like this, no. Yeah, very common, very common. All right, now Gina is playing tennis with Travis and some friends, and she plays very, very aggressively. I have recently taken up tennis again after many, many years. My husband started up again a few months ago, and he's getting really good really fast. So I have to get really good really fast because I'm competitive and I want to play with him. I want to be able to play not just doubles with him, but singles. So I'm hitting that ball like my life depends on it, but it's great. The cardio is great, and it's great for the Corona belly, as we call it in Miami, and as I think it's called everywhere around the world. Okay. Now we flash over to Bronwyn going to therapy. She says she's always been anxious and insecure. Your mother is Dr. Deb. Oh my God, you poor child. Of course you were always anxious and insecure. You have monster mother. Mom from the nether regions. The underworld. Beyond the river Styx, from Hades. She's horrible. Dr. Deb is truly monstrous. Yeah. So she started drinking as a teen to cope at around age 14. She took a drink and she was like, oh, this helps. I feel better. This kind of calms me down. Yeah, sure does. Okay, so it helped her with the anxiety. Apparently her and Sean lived in DC for a while. Okay. She had a miscarriage. I assume this was early in the marriage before she had all the other kids. I don't know. But anyway, at that time, she took Xanax and drank alcohol all the time. Do you know how scary that is? Mixing Xanax or anything in the Valium family, like clonazepam, Klonopin, those kind of things, and alcohol. Oh my God. That's so dangerous. She ended up in the hospital, but not that kind of hospital, like the you're dying because you're mixing pills and alcohol. No, she ended up in a psych ward. I would love to hear the story and the details behind what exactly put her in the psych ward. Is that bad of me to want to know? Anyway, okay. So Bronwyn recognizes that she has a completely codependent relationship with Sean and that he is her enabler. That's good that she recognizes it. But she sure seems to have a tendency to continue with it. She's definitely in the driver's seat in that relationship. It's very strange. It is a very strange marriage, but you know what? Every marriage is strange in one way or another. Who's to say? Who's to say? Okay, Shannon and her daughter Sophie go to a bridal salon. Sophie's going to a debutante ball. I guess Shannon was a debutante and her mother was a debutante. I have to tell you, I grew up upscale in the OC, never ever heard of any debutante balls in Orange County. Did not know they existed, and I knew all the old money girls and the new money girls and the, you know, the wealthiest kids in Orange County, and I was never aware of debutante balls. Is this something new that's been brought there from the South or something, since people have become more fancy? It's become even wealthier. You have even more kind of pretentious people living in Orange County than when I was growing up there. I don't know, but we didn't have debutante balls. You know, we put on a long lace kind of hippie prom dress and puka shells and a dried flower wreath around our head and went to prom in ballet flats. You know, that was our debutante ball. And probably the night we lost our virginity too, you know. All right, now we go back to Bronwyn. Bronwyn takes Jacob to buy skincare and makeup for him, for his drag. Apparently Jacob is already wearing heels to school. He's kind of experimenting with how far he wants to push this, this drag situation, whether he doesn't know. Like I said, so far he says it's not his identity, it's not how he identifies, it's just something he's trying on to see how it fits. All right, back to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is working out. She's already lost 30 pounds, good for her. And she's losing more. She wants to feel physically and mentally healthier. She needs definitely to feel stronger. She calls her mom and she says, "Mom, the ladies are really, really hard on me because my divorce story doesn't pan out to them. They're tired of hearing about it." She also reminds us that she has a tendency not to trust women because when she was the multimillionaire's wife with the private jet, she used to take all of her girlfriends on these expensive trips and cover everything, pay for everything, and of course they loved her and she was the queen, the belle of the ball. And then when she lost some of those perks with the divorce, they dumped her. Well, that's kind of a question of picking your friends badly. You don't, for one thing, if you're super wealthy like that, you don't pay for everything for everybody just right off the bat, or even after a while. That's just kind of a recipe for people latching onto you for the wrong reasons. I'm not saying you want to be cheap. Of course you want to be generous with your friends. But I also think when you're on that level where you have like hundreds of millions of dollars, you probably want some of your friends to be your old friends who knew you before, who are down to earth and don't have money. But it's probably good to have a couple friends who know what it's like to have that kind of money, because it sounds like boo-hoo, poor me, but there are some weird stresses that go with that kind of wealth, and it might be nice to have a couple friends that are on that same, in that same boat, in that same yacht. Okay. All right. It's funny because when she says she's been burned by women in the past, I'm thinking, well, this is not the group to change your perspective. This will make you more bitter. Okay, as I knew it would, Shannon's OCD is going crazy because of Miss Rona. She's absolutely just nuts. She's stockpiling everything. She's worried about everything. She's stressed. For some reason, I guess she's trying to find room for her cases and cases of paper towels and toilet paper in the garage, so she finds her wedding dress from David. And don't keep your wedding dress. I mean, do you really want, even if you're saving it for your daughter. Okay, when you heirloom your wedding dress, here's a tip. Just give it to the Goodwill or some charity and let some lucky girl have the wedding of her dreams in your dress. Because you heirloom it, you pay to put it in one of those things. First of all, they never work well. They end up leaking and it has a weird smell, or it's got mildew or something, or it's all wrinkled and weird and hard to fix, and it kind of turns yellow even though they say it won't. It just, don't bother. And here's the other thing. Your daughter doesn't want your dress. Styles change. Every generation, styles change drastically. If you had your grandmother's dress, you would probably want your grandmother's dress, because 2 generations back, like think about it right now, like a girl, her grandmother's dress would be a dress from the 70s. Ooh, that could be cool. Nobody wants a 90s wedding dress. No, nobody wants that. Maybe in another generation, but right now, no. God knows no one wants my 1987 poofy, dangly little pearl things hanging off it. Giant cloud veil with the thing over the forehead. Ugh. Awful. I ended up just throwing it away. I never did have it heirloomed, and then I think that when I had it hanging in the closet in its bag, kind of just neglected, and then when I separated, I just was like, garbage, because it wasn't in any kind of shape to give to charity anyway. So yeah. The thing is, also psychologically, keeping your wedding dress is bad. Oh, and also speaking of, well, not psychologically, but karmically, Do you want to give the dress from your failed wedding to your daughter and have your daughter walk down the aisle in the dress from your failed marriage? No. No. Anyway, is it Adeline, the youngest one, who's super skinny, tries the dress on. It fits her. Wow, folks, Shannon was really skinny when she married David because Adeline's teeny tiny. And it is a pretty dress, but burn it. No, don't burn it. This dress looks like it's in pretty good shape. Give it to a charity. Unless one of the daughters says, oh my God, I love this, I want to wear it. Then that's a totally different thing. Totally different thing. Okay, now you know my 50 cents about old wedding dresses. All right. I just felt like having her daughter try it on was weird. It's not like her daughter is anywhere near thinking about getting married, whatever. All right, and Shannon takes this opportunity to say, I am not going to rush into marriage again. I said the same thing. After a long marriage, I was single for 1 year. And actually, I wasn't even single for that whole year. For most of that year, I was engaged to someone I didn't end up staying with. We broke up, met my current husband, and we got married in 33 days. And no one was saying more stridently, more persistently, oh, I'm not in any hurry to get married. No, I'm going to be single for a long time. I don't know if I ever want to get married again. And yet somehow, within a year and a few months, I was engaged to one guy and then married. So, go figure. All right. Oh, Shannon's also freaking out because her daughter comes back from Costco and everything's out. And again, it's not so fun reliving this, is it? I guess we have to. It's history. We might as well get used to it. It's like the people who lived through the Blitz in London when they were bombing London. I'm sure right after the war, they didn't really like watching documentaries about the Blitz. I mean, not that, you know. Well, actually, sadly, more people die in coronavirus than the Blitz. It's just the Blitz was very, it was bombs falling and buildings collapsing, and it was more in your face, so to speak. Okay. Right now, Gina is shopping with Emily in an Italian market, and it's really taking her back to her roots. Oh my God, she's got the prosciutto, and she's got the, the pasta, and she's got everything she likes. She's in heaven. She's in heaven. Gina said that Shannon called and was just freaking out about Miss Rona. Gina's basically throwing all this stuff in Emily's basket that neither one of them should be eating, like sausages and mascarpone cheese. And Gina's happy. She's happy. Dieting is not her priority, but once the quarantine starts and she puts on quarantine weight on top of what's going on, it's going to be harder to lose. I mean, I think about that. It's like, oh my God, imagine if I went into quarantine at not my ideal weight. At least, thank God, I went into quarantine I'm never thin, but for me, on the more slender side, on the lower side of my weight range, let's say. Thank God. I'd be a whale. I'd be a humpback. Ooh. I can't make whale noises. Okay. All right. Oh God. She was also freaking out because Bronwyn's grandma at the vow renewal was exposed to coronavirus, and she knew she was exposed, and she was hugging and kissing on everybody, including Shannon. So she was worried about that. And then she's crying about, now we see Shannon, she's literally crying over paper towels. Yeah. That's what we become reduced to in March of 2020, crying over paper towels. Well, Shannon says she's high risk. She has scarring in her lungs because she had, I guess, some things with her, issues with being sick. I don't know if it was bronchitis or pneumonia or whatever. My mom's the same way, and my mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law had COVID, and thank God she was fine. Okay, Kelly, her company is taking a hit because of Miss Rona, obviously. That's going to hurt her water situation. One of her biggest distribution conferences was called off, where she was looking forward to signing some big deals, and now everyone's scared. So it will definitely, be difficult for her to keep it up, because she's going to have to keep paying a lot of money every month to sustain the company without really making a lot of income. So that's tough. All right, now Shannon calls Kelly. Shannon's still freaking out. Kelly thinks it's blown out of proportion. It's no big deal. Only old people and sick people have to worry. Gina talks to her mother in New York, yikes, and tells her school in Orange County is closing. It's funny, her mom's really calm. Gina's really scared. At that moment, New York was the terrifying place to be. She's wondering what will happen to Matt with the DA. There is a plea deal being made. Apparently she did tell her story about what really happened that night, officially, put it on the record. And Gina, who is really acting like a battered woman, says, I don't want Matt to be mad at me. I don't want him to be mad at me. Yikes. Okay. Bronwyn is stressed out in general, and even more stressed out with everything else, and she's still not, let's say, at her best. So they're talking, and then suddenly she realizes that Rowan, her daughter who has really bad OCD and anxiety, is freaking out about Miss Rona. And this is elevating Bronwyn's anxiety, worrying about Rowan, and she's really afraid that she's going to drink. She's 43 days sober, but a lot of AA meetings are being canceled. I guess they're going to do them on Zoom. Bronwyn tells Rowan to come to an AA meeting with her. Okay. There's a separate one for the children of alcoholics, Alateens. Rowan should go to Alateens. Anyway, suddenly in the middle of all this, Bronwyn screams at Sean for no apparent reason. She's just a mess. I think was it Gina who said it? It was right. Bronwyn is broken. She's broken. Okay, then we see a Chiron, March 15th. Production of the season comes to a halt. We see a preview for the second half of the season, so apparently they are going to carry on, and it looks like a gigantic mess, but it looks interesting, so I will be there for it. Thank you for being there for me watching this recap. Please remember, again, to subscribe, like, comment. I always answer your comments. And I want you to be really, really careful, please. And I want you to be good, but not too good. Happy Hanukkah. Chag Sameach. Everyone be well. Love you guys. Bye.